Browns got the ball.
All right, guys. So we that didn't go as expected. We
Just
are now 4-2, or actually the game's still going on. So in all, there's still a chance. We're only down 31 points and 2 minutes left in the game.
right.
Basically, my thoughts on the game are this: we lost from not the opening drive. Like I think we held them. There's fine, holding them to 3 points on that opening drive. When I don't know who was it, Terrence Mitchell on that second pass where it bounced off his face, where we could have had an interception there on their 20-yard line. That
Right.
you can't let opportunities like that against good teams slip away from you.
Sure.
So that was the first thing. We let them drive down. They score a field goal. Then we go. The first play, like hilariously, is right up the middle, stuffed, and then we're forced into a passing play, and we're forced into a passing play. And when he threw that pick six, I mean, it basically when it went 10-0, they were like, "We can't win the game," and they quit. And when I say like they quit, I don't mean like everybody just gave up and that was it. I mean like there were players that tried to play, tried to do their thing, but the offensive line didn't seem like they were blocking hard every time. They were getting through. Like I saw Watt get through that line it seemed like every play he was just in. He just got through the gap every damn play. Then they were smacking us around on special teams, on when they were on defense, just basically every play coming in there, hitting us as hard as they could. Hitting Baker, knocking him out of the game essentially. Baker goes 10 for 18, 119 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, sacked 4
Yeah.
times.
For a confidence booster, throwing a pick six, your second pass of the game, when you're already losing 3-0 was sort of a backbreaker. I mean, it just really started the game off on the wrong foot. We had chances to come back. We went 3 and out so many times. Third down conversion was terrible. The play calling in the third quarter when Baker was still playing, they went for it 4th and 1 or whatever, and they reversed the Landry call. Um,
Right.
you haven't run up the middle at all. Why don't you do some misdirection? Why don't you? Hell, they could have faked it to Hunt and flipped a little pass to Odell Beckham, who ran through the backfield, and they only needed a yard, 2 yards. So, but no, they don't do that. They run it up, they stuff them. Um, when they blitzed, we didn't pick up the blitz very well. They were in the backfield several times. Baker just wasn't Baker. If he was that hurt, maybe he shouldn't have played. He took some shots. They took him out. It was a coach's decision to take him out at the end,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
not
I think they knew that we were losing the game. He was clearly hurt and uncomfortable. We let
right.
him get hit even more in the game to probably make him even more uncomfortable. It's like how long are you going to leave him out there? Because now it's a matter of is he going to be is this going to be a lingering like injury all year? And if you
Right.
get bruised or you've something bruised and you keep punching it over and over and over and you don't give it a chance to heal, then it's going to be a thing all season, and his quality of play is going to be down all season. So it's like
Yeah.
we've lost this game. We get it. Let's get the hell out of here. Put in Case Keenum just at the end to do whatever, and let's just get out of this game. Period. Let's go home. Let's lick our wounds and move on from there. I think the thing that I'm most disappointed in from a Browns team perspective is obviously after the Ravens game, we're beating ourselves up because it was a bad game, right? And it was
Right.
disappointing and it felt disgusting after that game. And then you got this game where it felt the same way. It's like we were beat from the almost from the first snap of the game. And to lose this bad 38-7, you have to because I mean it was 24-7, it was 24 nothing by the time we scored the first time. Higgins catches a touchdown, doesn't even want to do his normal he doesn't want to do his normal celebration because it's It's like we're
Right.
down 24-7. Like, what are we
Well, they got
celebrating
the
here?
ball, and they got the ball back, and they had a chance to at least get a
Yep.
field goal, but they
Nothing.
could. Again, the play calling, the decisions. Um, I, I tweeted or texted you early on that Baker was spending way too much time in the pocket.
Yep.
He can't see very well in the pocket sometimes with the big lineman, so you need to get him out. So what do? They finally get him out, and he throws a nice pass down the sidelines. I mean, they didn't move him around, maybe because he felt uncomfortable moving, and the best choice you had was to leave him in the pocket. But he clearly did not play well from the pocket.
Yeah.
He did not.
This is one of his worst games as a pro.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this is one of his worst games as a pro.
To win 4 games in a row and then come out and just sort of, I don't know, stink up the field. I mean, they just didn't. The defense played okay, but not great.
I mean, Myles Garrett got handled today.
Yeah, he did nothing.
He had one sack that was like a weird, like it almost like looked like their defensive line quit.
Yeah, the one sack he got was good, but and that sort of could have got us back in the game if we had anything going on offense, but we didn't. It was a terrible performance across the board. And as I texted you at the end, this is the type of defeat that sends you reeling for a while, especially if we lose Baker and you have to go with Keenum against Cincinnati. Cincinnati had a big lead and now they blew it. I don't know how they're doing now, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're losing 31-27 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah. So
and they have the ball 4th and 4 on the Cincinnati 22.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they came back. The Texans came back. So, early on in our pick'em, we were getting beat by everybody. But these late surges where teams have turned it around, I don't know how the Patriots are doing, but they were getting their butts kicked by Denver of all people. But Denver let them into the game at the end, and since we decided to come, on early, I'm missing the end of the Patriots game because they actually switched the Browns off because they were getting beat so bad.
Yeah, that's why I was like, we might as well just do the post game now. Like I'm not gonna watch the Patriots game. I don't give a crap. Like they literally turned the Browns game off. That I'm looking at. I mean, this brings up so many questions, right? This is a game you didn't want to have. Obviously, the loss, but like we talked about before, it's like it's how you lose, and we lost in we were manhandled. And
right.
and really what the big criticism of this team is going into this season was, can Baker, Dad, if you're moving around your mic, you gotta move around a little. Can Baker handle, and can he be the guy? Can he step up and really make himself the leader of the team? And I think that when the mistakes happen and they're clearly on his shoulders, when he's throwing the interceptions, when he throws a pick six in the beginning of the game and just takes the wind out of the team, then you start seeing the bad body language. Then you start seeing the drop passes and the other things going on. Then you look on the sidelines and you see Odell's the one who's out there yelling at the team, trying to get them going, trying to get them fired up. Baker's just kind of like, well, it was Baker's fault. That's just the fact of the matter. So now we have to go back and we have to say, like, what happens next? Is Baker going to continue? Is he going to play next week? Are they going to give it to Keenum to see what he does? Give Baker an extra week to heal? Can Keenum get us through Cincinnati? Probably. Now it's like, well, who's playing better? Who has the hot hand? Are we gonna continue to see Baker develop, or are we just gonna hand the ball off to Keenum and see if what Keenum can do? They're showing the stats of when he was on the Vikings and how when Stefanski was the quarterback coach there, not offense quarterback coach. So Keenum's obviously comfortable in the system. But if there's anybody out there, a single person out there who's excited about Case Keenum potentially being the quarterback of the team, I hate to break it to you guys, but Case Keenum is not at what 32 years old or however old he is. 32 years old is not going to be somebody that is going to lead us to the promised land and be the future for us. So if Baker has if this is the beginning of the end for him, and I'm not saying that it is, but if it is, then we're in a lot of trouble because this was the window that we're building the talent for this. You know?
Well, we're only 4-2. If we can win against Cincinnati, we'll be 5-2. Who do we have after Cincinnati?
The Raiders.
All right, so we got a ways to go to the break. So I still believe in Baker. I've seen enough that I like. Uh, Clearly, today was not a very good game. Hurt, whatever. The offensive line was okay, but not great. I mean, they blitzed him. They were in his face. Like I told you and said before, if they're getting to you in the pocket, you've got to move Baker around. And Baker is pretty good moving around. If nothing else, he's not going to get hit and he's not going to get sacked. He'll throw it away, come back to live another day. But you can't let him sit there, step up in the pocket, and still hold on to the ball, and expect him to survive. I mean, he just
That
got
second interception that he
hammered.
threw, he didn't he just winged it in the air basically. He's like you know,
Yeah,
not realizing that
that was a bad decision. He
both of
got
them were
out of the
bad.
yeah he got out of the pocket, and instead of throwing it away, I think it was because it was third down. He was trying to save it, and he threw it into multiple coverage. I mean, all I had to do is stand up
And
and
that's all it
catch
was.
the
He's
ball.
just I mean that's a dream come true for a defensive back. Just wait for him
Yeah,
to flutter the ball up in the air and then just reach up and grab it.
yeah, some bad penalties. We got a couple of breaks that could have been worse, but clearly not our day. Not our day. Everything was ever since the pick six. It was clearly an ugly uphill battle, which we could not come back from. Casey Keenum, if he gets the first uh, team reps during the week, um, he certainly should be competitive. That'll give Baker 2 weeks to heal before he has to play against the Raiders. Um, and if he can come back, fine. If he can't, that's why you have Keno on the team. You have to have a decent backup.
Yep.
We didn't get to Roethlisberger very much. We didn't pressure him. Um, so it just was a bad performance, almost literally from the get go, which is
Yeah.
one of the worst games to try to watch and to you keep thinking, okay, we need a break. Never came, never got our heads into it. And like you said, Baker was too hurt really to. They should have taken him out at halftime when he took that one shot. They should have said, okay, Keenum, you're going to play the second half. We can't. He can't take another. They're going to put pressure on him. They're going to try to hit him hard again. So what good did it do you? And then we just didn't have coming out in the second half. We had nothing, absolutely nothing. They were going to throw a little screen pass to the right, and we took a 10-yard sack on the play, and he got pounded. Just a terrible way to start the second half. We come out and we score and we make it 24-14. Maybe you got some hope, but when we got sacked like that and we had to kick the ball and give him good field position, I said, this is not going to work because Baker's just not. And he didn't want to come out. The coach didn't want to take him out. He let him play a little bit longer. Then he said, you know what? We're not going to win this thing, and let Keenum take over. It'll give him some reps for next week in case Baker really gets sore during the week and can't practice and can't throw. And like you said, rib injuries are tough. They're tough to come back, but they take a long time to heal.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, if you look at it, Odell Beckham, not a factor in the game. Jarvis Landry, not a factor in the game.
Right.
Cooper, 5 catches for yards. Dude, not really a factor in the game. Kareem Hunt, 13 carries, 40 yards, average 3. 1, his long 10.
Right.
Penalties, we lost on penalties. Look at that. So third down, we were 1 for 12.
Yeah.
Fourth down, we were 0 for 3.
Yeah. Terrible.
You look, we didn't force any turnovers.
Yeah, we stopped them a couple of good times, and then finally we just gave them good field position, and Roethlisberger, just heaved it up there, caught that little, that kid made a real nice catch down the sidelines that led to another touchdown. So those things are going to happen, and when your players don't have any adrenaline, they're not psyched, they don't think they can win, they're just mailing it in. That's what you
deflated and demoralized the whole time.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see if they can come back. Cincinnati would love to beat us, next time. So that'll be worse. I mean, to lose both to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati back to back like that. But let's hope we can bounce back. Let's hope we have a good week. Let's hope Baker heals a little bit, and he's not a quitter. He's a fighter, and so are the other guys. But when you're off on all cylinders, one guy can't win the game for you. So that's.
I'm looking at the Cincinnati game. There's 52 seconds left. 27-31. Cincinnati has it on the Colts 37-yard line, like that. 50, but they're down 4 points. They have to score a touchdown, and if they score a touchdown, they win the game. So that would be hilarious if and that also kind of like deflates our win over Cincinnati. But yeah, I guess let's do the homage giveaway. So 1, 2, homage. I'm gonna put in my number. Then, it's disappointing. It was like, I knew it kind of going into this game. I felt nervous. I felt nervous about the Baltimore game as well going into that. I felt like, we could have a good game. It's possible, but it was also very nervous going into this. That's kind of how I felt. I was telling my wife going into the game, we were watching it together, and before it even started, I was like, I'm not going to get upset with this one. Like, I'm just going to watch it happen. And there really was nothing that happened today that got me upset. I was just like, okay. Yeah.
The play call after the Jarvis Landry reversal, that was probably, other than the pick six, that was the worst. I mean, to run it up the middle against their defense with no misdirection, without a fake, it just was, you're not going to get a yard and a half. I mean, it was just terrible. Then they had another chance, 3rd down and 2, they dropped the ball, or they knocked it away. Then it was 4th and the same 2, they throw the ball, and he threw it. This is when Casey Keenum was in. He threw it behind the guy. So I mean, it was terrible. It was just not what we had anticipated, and it's going to be a rough week for the Browns in practice.
Good. Honestly, good. I mean, like, it looks like Indianapolis stopped them. They won the game 37. Cincinnati.
Burrow threw an interception.
Oh, okay. That game, Baltimore most likely will take care of
the
Eagles. Eagles have the ball 4th and 9 on the Baltimore 18 with 3 minutes and 48 seconds left. But right now, Baltimore's in the driver's seat, up 8. I mean, guys, I don't know what to tell you. The only thing I can say is we had a really bad loss in Baltimore, first game of the season.
Right.
And then we came right back against Cincinnati and ripped off 4 in a row. We have a really bad loss to Pittsburgh. Let's start off ripping another 4 in a row off right now, starting with Cincinnati. We get them right back next week, right?
Right.
So we
They
can
could
go
make
right down there and start and be 5-2, and then now we're going into the Raiders game 5-2, possibly 6-2 at halfway through the season. And it's unfortunate we lost to Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but guys, like the sky isn't falling down yet. And I think Stefanski's not a dumb guy, and I don't think he's going to look at this and be like, we need to blow up the team or anything. I think the reality is we still have the ability to be 6-2 at the halfway point in the season. And for
right.
me, that's a win. If you would tell me at the beginning, Dad, beginning of the season, halfway through, we'll be 6-2. I'd be like, oh my God, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll give you anything to have that
Right,
record going
right.
in
But
half season.
we got our work cut out for it to go 6-2. We got to win 2 in a row.
Yeah.
But they're not against Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Kansas City or whatever. They're not automatic losses. The team has got to bounce back. They got to have a good reaction, and then it's a question of, does Baker play or doesn't he play, and can Casey Keenum, can he do anything with a week's worth of practice if he does take the first string snaps? He's an experienced quarterback. He should be able to, but he's got to have support from the line, the defense, the receivers. He threw a couple of nice passes. They're starting to go into the prevent.
Yeah, it's garbage time. You can't judge. Yeah, I was even saying that. I'm like, oh, he's gonna have some garbage time stats, and everybody's gonna be like, dude, see, he's better. And it's like,
right. No.
I mean, I get where people are saying. I still think Baker's a better quarterback than Case Keenum. I just think that Baker's banged up, had a terrible game. He's banged up, and at this point, like, guys, like, he's our Baker's our quarterback. Like, he is. So if he's healthy, he's gonna play. If he's not healthy, we have Case Keenum, and Case will be the guy, just like he was today. Baker got banged up, didn't have a good game. They probably didn't want to see him just get completely murdered out there, continue bruising himself or worse. So they took him out and they let Case Keenum come in and mop up the rest of the game.
Sure.
Let's get the heck out of there.
Made sense. A lot of teams would have left him in there and get banged up further. Stefanski's call should have been at halftime, not at the end of whatever it was, the middle of the third quarter. He should have got him out of there. But he wanted to see if he could do anything. Certainly after the first drive and he goes down, they should have taken him out at that point. He should have never came back in the game. But I still believe in him. I think he's a good player. He's got heart, plays hard, wants to win, can throw the ball when he's healthy. Obviously, a lot of guys can't play when they're hurt. Roethlisberger, I thought, was okay, nothing great. It looks a little weak when he throws the ball, especially short. He's pushing the ball, but he did make a couple of longer throws, but not a lot of them. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. Who does Pittsburgh play next? When did Baltimore and Pittsburgh hook up?
Steelers play, well, I think they're supposed to play Tennessee in that makeup game, right?
Okay.
25th, and then they get the Ravens on November 1st.
Yeah, so they got a tough schedule coming up, which could bring them back to the field. If we can feast on the weaker opponents that we have and climb back in this thing, then it's anybody's game going towards the end. But it's a long season. It's a tough grind, and like you said, Jarvis was not a factor. Odell was certainly not a factor. I don't know what they did to take it away, but Baker went back in the pocket, looked, didn't see anything, and then stepped up, still didn't see anything, and then got sacked. That must have happened 3 or 4 or 5 times. I mean, it just sometimes he got the ball away, but it just. He didn't have that confidence when the ball came out of his hand that the guy was going to be wide open, or even close play. You obviously worry about the pick since the second pass he threw was picked for 6, but just poor game all the way around. Nothing. There's no lipstick you can put on this pig. It's over, done, in the books, and you move on. So A lot of it'll hinge on Stefanski. Can he bring him back? Can he coach him back? They clearly didn't make any adjustments at halftime that made any difference whatsoever. So whatever Pittsburgh was doing, like you said to me, that we had no answer for it. Whether it was the blitz, whether it was, pressure, whether it was just rushing 3 guys and putting 8 back. Clearly nobody's going to be open. But then you should have a lot of time and you should scramble. But you don't want Baker scrambling when he's hurt like that. So it was just a bad Sunday afternoon, Mike. Bad Sunday afternoon.
As bad as we've seen. And I mean, Roethlisberger was 14 for 22, 162 and 1.
Right. That's all he had to do. And Connor, I mean, I can't
20 carries, 101, 1 touchdown.
Yeah. I can't tell you the number of times that you look and we got him bottled up. Or hit him in the backfield. He spun, twisted, jumped, whatever. Not only got to the line of scrimmage, but then made 6 or 7 yards after that. Typical of like Chubb would do to other teams. But they couldn't stop. We couldn't make the stop when we had to make the stop, whether it was on 3rd down or 4th down or whatever. We just could not execute from start to finish. No game balls are going to be passed out on this one across the board. I don't think they had anybody that they could point to and say, "Oh, you had a really good game." There was nobody. I mean, it was a complete team effort as far as the loss is concerned, and coaches and coaching.
100%. 100%, and that's where we're at right now. We lost on special teams. We lost on offense. We lost on defense. We lost in coaching. We lost with, attitude and positivity. I think the only thing that we didn't have go wrong our way, where we actually won the game, is we didn't have a soul-crushing injury like Pittsburgh had Devin Bush go down. And it looks like he's down. He's really down.
And it was on his own. I mean, that was another play. If our guy catches the ball, and because he clearly dropped it before Devin Bush even got to him. He dropped it. And so Bush sort of, I don't know if he eased up or what he did, but he clearly did not tackle the guy. He just let him go. Maybe he hit him a little bit after he dropped the ball. And then he tumbled out of bounds, but he put his left leg out in an awkward way. And that's what jarred his knee. But if our guy makes the catch, he goes for a 1st down, and then the drive is alive. But that's exactly.
It's like at that point, the whole it was like it started from the opening drive of Pittsburgh, where I want to say it was Mitchell. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to go back and look at it. Ben Roethlisberger literally hit him in the face with a ball, and it bounced off his face 10 yards.
Right, I saw that. Yeah,
dude, I'm sorry, man. Like, we would have had the ball and all the momentum in the world on their 20-yard line on the opening drive. And instead we let them go down and score points. Yeah. You can't do that against a good team. And then our next play, what do? We throw that, not next play, but on that next drive, a pick 6. Now we're down 10-0, and the game is essentially over because we can't get a 3rd down to save our life. We can't get a 4th down to save our life. And yet they get every 3rd down and they get every 4th down. So it was like, I think this whole season so far, other than the Baltimore game, we've gotten incredibly lucky with the turnovers and when the things happened when they had to happen for the Browns. And if you're not a complete team, balanced and consistent, and you don't play 4 quarters of football, eventually those breaks are going to come back to bite you. Those freebies, those gifts from God. Right. So we didn't have those gifts happen and fall our way today. And then we fell apart. Meanwhile, looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the now 5-0 Pittsburgh Steelers, they played 4 quarters of football, guys. They didn't take their foot off the gas. They scored a touchdown in every quarter of the game.
Yeah, we didn't play 1 quarter of football. I mean, you're saying play 4 quarters. I mean, you got to start with playing 1. We did not have a good quarter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. I mean, we were not there. We didn't show up for the game. It didn't live up to the hype of a 4-1, 5-0, 4-0 team,
not at all. We
arch rivals playing on a 4-game win streak. That type. I mean,
embarrassing.
I just don't know how much to place on the coaching staff. They call the plays, they set up the game plan, they change things as you're looking at the blitzes and the guys coming in and making the assignments to make sure the guys pick up the blitz and whatnot. So a lot of it's got to go on the coaching staff. And Stefanski's the type of guy that'll say, "Yeah, I'll take the blame." If you can't lose a game like that and say I coached a good game. I mean that from start to finish. So he's got to regroup. Luckily, we don't have to play this again until sometime late in the season against Pittsburgh, when hopefully it'll mean something. And we got obviously something to play for next week, next Sunday against Cincinnati. And it's a bad loss for Cincinnati. They were in control of that game from the start all the way to the end.
Yeah. I think with Cincinnati, their coaches, this coach that's coaching him now is not going to be their guy for Joe Burrow. He's just not. They're probably going to start over with a new coaching staff, get him somebody competent. They're going to have a high draft pick as well this year. So they're going to be able to get him what he needs on the offensive line. He's getting crushed. Look for the Bengals to take an offensive line early in the draft. Then you got teams like the Jets, the Jets, the possibly Falcons, although the Falcons had a really good game. They scored 10 points in every quarter.
Yeah, they finally
23
showed up. The week I don't take them, they finally show up. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that are going to be in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. And there's some good quarterbacks coming out. This is one of those years. This is one of those unfortunate years that if you're a bad team and you need a quarterback and you have the first pick overall, you have a no-brainer. You have Trevor Lawrence sitting there, and you go, "Hi, Trevor. Here's a team. You're good." I mean, there's not going to be a combine. There's not going to be controversy. It's going to be who's going to be the second pick, just like that Andrew Luck year. They're like, right. "Oh, are you going to pick RG3 or Andrew Luck?" They're like, we're good." So it really just comes down to that. Unfortunately, with us, we had a bit of a stretch with Baker. I think everybody can. I'm not saying this is bashing him, but there were a lot of quarterbacks, and there were a lot of guys with upside. The Josh Allens, the Lamar Jackson have a potential scary upside, but it was also a dangerous downside too, like complete bust all over them. When you have the Heisman Trophy winning guy with all the swagger in the world coming in, it's just unfortunate that his body size and some of his habits don't translate super well to being a consistent dominant quarterback. The guys who are the guys who are the most dominant quarterbacks in the NFL, historically, have been large guys that are over 6'2", so like 6'3" and up, and have big thick bodies that can absorb stuff and hang in the pocket like Ben Roethlisberger does. Tom Brady does. Those type of guys. Dan Marino did it. Those are the guys that you want, and Trevor Lawrence is that guy. Dude is like 6'6", 225 or something like that. Right. So you have guys like that are going to come in. Unfortunately, we got like a 6-ish, 6'1" quarterback, and for all the good things that Baker's done,
you got to design a game plan, a scheme that allows him to see better and to be more mobile and to take him out of the bad situations. When he started getting sacked in the pocket, I was saying, you got to move him. You got to get him out. And sure enough, they did it. The very next series, they got him out. He threw a nice pass, but then they got away from it again. And
if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm just looking at what Sean Payton does with Drew Brees, and I'm doing that. He's another quarterback who's not the tallest guy in the world.
Right.
Or look at what Russell Wilson does and create those type of offenses. I think there's probably, and the guys that are out there that can criticize it are, who can actually break down each play, footwork and stuff much better than we can, might be able to give us a little bit more insight. But the bottom line is what we've seen so far in the two bad games, meaning the Baltimore game and then this game, Pittsburgh game, and then the second half of the Colts game, has a lot of people very worried. And if you look on Twitter, if you look in Reddit, if you look all over the place, the criticisms of Baker are coming out and they're justified. And guys, I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan. I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan. But at the end of the day, whether he's injured or not, it doesn't matter. You're out there. You're expected to play and win. So that's all I got to say.
Did you give away the T-shirt, Mike?
I did.
Did
yes.
you pick them? Okay,
yep,
good.
It went to Joe White.
Joe White.
And Joe White. So I don't know if he saw my thing there. Joe White, awesome. Okay, cool. He got the word. So yeah, guys, tough one this week. There's no other way around it. Very hard, very disappointing loss. I just couldn't wait for the game to be over, to be honest. It was just so bad. Looking at how happy the Steelers were and the Steelers fans, it just makes me very upset. And to see those guys go out there and really put it to us, you could almost tell they had this game circled. Like they were going to make a statement and they were going to really drill us into the ground, and they did. So I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think they're the good guys here. I think they're not.
No, well, everything they did worked for them. Their game plan was good. Yep. They blitzed. They put pressure on Baker. They covered in their secondary. When you can't throw a ball to Jarvis and Odell for an entire half. That means you are doing something right, and the Browns are doing something wrong. And a combination of those two things are you can't win. I mean, all you can do is survive until maybe you figure it out and you turn it around. But we never figured it out, and obviously we never turned it around. So.
All right, guys, I think that's good for today. I don't think I have any more to say. I'm very disappointed. I'm not looking forward to a week of hearing it from the national media, hearing it for the local Cleveland idiots. There's going to be a lot of hot debate going on Twitter about Baker Mayfield. That's not going to be a fun thing to have. People defending him, people bashing him.
Especially if he sits against Cincinnati and Keenum wins, that's going to start a little bit of controversy. If he sits and Keenum does terrible against Cincinnati, well, then they'll be calling for Baker to come back. So one of those two things is going to happen. Third thing is Baker could play. He could play terrible. Fourth thing, he could play okay, and we can win.
I think the only way Baker doesn't play that is if he's like physically not capable of going.
And I give him credit. I think he's got potential. I think he can play well. I think he can play well against Cincinnati. He may not be able to beat Baltimore and Kansas City and Pittsburgh and so forth at this point without some strong support around him. But nobody showed up today. I mean, Baker didn't show. The coaches didn't show. Nobody showed up today.
It's not all on Baker, but it's almost like that kicker who missed that extra point in the Ravens game. We have a chance to make it a game and turn it into something, and it just knocks us in the lungs. Just a gut punch, and you're like, damn it, like we do everything to get down there and something good happens, and then we have some idiot kicker who can't execute the most simple task in like maybe all of professional sports, which is the most automatic thing that should happen is an extra point, and he doesn't hit it, and it just makes it that much harder. You're like, come on, let's do it. And then now with Baker throwing the pick six, I haven't seen a pick six being thrown from a Browns quarterback in a long time. So it was like, but it was like the game was over right then. And people will argue, no, they were still trying. Well, of course they were still trying, but they were beat at that point. Mentally, they were beat after that pick six. It was like, damn it.
Yeah, it was terrible. When you have such high expectations and you come out and you do something as bad as bonehead, as whatever you want to call it. I mean, that throw over the middle, he did not look in the middle. He did not see that safety come up 2 yards, 3 yards. And that made all the difference because the guy was open temporarily when Baker threw the ball, but the safety had his eyes on Baker the whole time, and Baker didn't see him. You can't make that throw in that situation. Now, granted, he may have taken it down and taken a sack, but it's better than throwing a pick six. And he's going to see that on the film. If I can see it on the film on the replay, he's obviously going to see it. And I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know how you correct that. But their secondary did a tremendous job, and that's why they're 5-0.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. I know it's been a tough one, but I appreciate everybody. Congratulations to Joe White for winning the t-shirt from Homage. Appreciate it.
Right.
And guys, we'll see you next week for the Cincinnati game.
All right, go Browns.
Go Browns.